I am back. I was away for 2.5 hours, but I am back. Are you there? Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret. My name's not actually Margaret. I don't know if you guys know what I'm referring to. I don't even know if there's a God. Let's not discuss that today. I was making video tutorials this morning about video in P5, about pixels. This is where I last left off. Let me get situated here, and I'm going to make another video in a moment. I want to, if you're watching this somewhere, let me know if the audio sounds right. I have to find my admin pages here. I just turn this on. I see that I see myself on YouTube with 3 people watching. That's good. I see myself on Twitch with, it says 14 people, but that cannot be possible. Please, if you are watching, let me know in the chat if you just say if you can hear me okay, and if the picture quality seems fine. If I walk over here, you can still hear me, and the picture quality seems okay. And coming back over here. Okay, so hi again. So I'm gonna just take, right now I've got about maybe 10 minutes to a half an hour before I'm going to do something else. I'm coming back to my tutorial list, and I was just going to go to the next one called brightness mirror, and I'm going to make that quick tutorial about reading the pixel. I'll keep looking over here because I have this view of the screen over there. Maybe I need to not put it there. But anyway, you're the person there who I am talking to. I'm going to make a video tutorial about how you can read the pixels of an image and then draw something based on that in the canvas of a P5 sketch. So let me just check. No one's really told me that they can hear okay, but I'm going to refresh this page because I bet you there might be, okay, I see. I think I missed, if anyone's on Twitch and posted in the chat, I lost it by accident. So come back to me. Okay, so what I'm going to do first here is I'm going to kind of try to make this example, and then I'll do the tutorial about it. Okay, so what I need here is Sublime, and I need also the Finder. These are the examples I'm working with, pixels, and I'm going to say, I'm going to call this brightness mirror. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I need to go back into Chrome. I need to look at brightness mirror, which is, I copied this code over. And what I want to do instead is the following. So I'm just going to program this really quickly to see if it works and get my head used to this example. And then I'm going to kind of delete all my code, hit record, and kind of go through it step by step. So, but I'll kind of ramble while I'm doing this in my prep stage here. I'm trying to refresh this again. My Twitch admin panel is doing weird things. Okay, so the first thing I need is a variable for the video element, and then I want to say create create capture. 3 bars. I'm back. Sorry, everybody. Sorry, everyone. Hello. Okay, can you hear me now? You should be able to hear me now. Sorry, everyone. Yeah, I haven't come back alive yet. Sorry. Working now. Okay. I was trying to figure something out. Something is not happening. If video. So what I want to do is just say ready and var go equals false. I'm just going to do this thing again because I don't know any other way to do it right now. And I'm just going to do that. I don't love this as a solution. Cannot read property of load pixels of undefined. Hold on. Undefined. What? Var video. Oh, I read. No. I had a mistake in my code all along. Maybe I don't need this. Classic programming error. Okay, let's see if we are going to be good now. Since nobody heard anything I was talking about, I'll explain what I'm doing in a second. There we go. Perfect. Okay, sorry everyone. I am Liquid Origami, 2 streams today. Yes, there are 2 streams today. I am continuing from where I left off. This is my topic list. I made the top videos earlier today. Basic create capture, did a little photo booth, made this Morbid style animation, looked at the basics of the pixel array. And right now what I am doing is I'm getting set up to make a tutorial where I'm going to look at how to read and manipulate the pixels from a live video. You can see already how slow this is. You can see the lag that's happening. And I wonder if, but that's not going to be an issue because there's all sorts of stuff I'm going to do later that will fix this. But I'm just curious to make sure this is really working. Okay, yep, this is really working. And now what I'm going to do is, okay, so I am just testing some code ideas out before I actually hit record and going to walk through this stuff more step by step. So one thing I want to do is I need to look at the P5 brightness function, which is going to be a very key function that I'm going to use. And the brightness function expects a color. It expects a color. So what if I give it, I wonder if secretly it might be able to take some other stuff. So let's look at the brightness function just even here in the console. Because what happens if I say brightness 255? It needs a color or pixel array. Brightness, so I could do this. $100, that seems about right. 100. Oh, it's giving it to me as a value between 0 and 100? I guess so. Yeah. Okay, interestingly enough, the brightness function gives me by default a value between 0 and 100. And what I'm going to give to it are, so there should be a way that I can use the, anyone in the chat might tell me, I think the slice function takes out a P. Let's look up slice. Now, I don't know if this function is going to be too slow, but let's look at what slice does. A shallow copy of a portion of the array, begin, end. Okay, that's exactly what I want. What does shallow copy mean? I think it has to do maybe with something important. I knew that. I learned that at some point in my life. You look it up, pretend. I could pause this stream, look it up, pretend I know what I'm talking about. So I think what I want is, if this is index, if I want to just get the color, then I want to say video.pixels.slice, and from the index to index plus 4. Does that make sense? I want, if 0, 1, 2, 3, is it inclusive or exclusive of the end? So we're going to have to look that up. Slice 1, 3 gives orange, lemon, and not apple. So 0, 3 would give me 3 items. Okay, so it is exactly what I want. And then I could say var. So let's do something where then I look at the brightness of that value. And this should just convert it to grayscale. So I just sort of seeing how this works. Oops, now I need to go here. Object arguments is not a valid color representation. Huh. All right, fine. Have it your way. I'm going to have to debug this. var a equals video dot pixels dot slice 0,4. So let's say no loop, stop it, video dot load pixels. Video dot pixels is an array. Oh, it's some weird kind of array. Can I not use slice on that? Can you guys see what I'm typing here? Video dot pixels dot slice 0,4. Oh, that worked. So that should work. And then let's see if I put this into a variable. That worked. And then I should be able to say brightness. I should be able to get the, I could just do the math for this myself in 2 seconds by just averaging the three. I don't know why I'm doing this, but that looks like a pixel array to me. I wonder if it's because it's this kind of weird array. Right? Like what if I do this? Yeah, that worked. Interesting. So this is another, I got to file these as issues, really. We should be able to pull out, I guess I could, probably the get function or the copy function. Get is really what I should use. I was just worrying get would be so slow. I can't remember if get, maybe this is a case where I could call get. Because I could say video.get. I just don't know if this would be slow. And I get that. And then so var a equals video.get. And then I could say brightness of a. That works. All right, so I'm going to try using get. I can't remember. Let's look at the reason why I thought I shouldn't use get is because it's really, really slow as opposed to accessing the pixel array directly. But I guess if I'm doing this slice thing anyway, that's probably what get is doing. Let's look at what get is doing behind the scenes. So p5.prototype.get equals function. This .renderer.get. So .get equals function. Where else? Table get, table row, glyph set, matrix, renderer. So it returns pixel load. Oh, it does call load pixels. So this is what I want to avoid. And it does all this like rounding math and does too much. You know what? Forget about it. Forget about it. I'm going to do this the manual way. I'm glad I looked all this up. I'm going to do this the manual way. Forget about slice or get. I'm going to just do this. What I can do is actually just say r equals video.pixels index RGB B index +1 +2. And guess what? You know how to calculate the brightness? Bright equals R plus G plus B divided by 3. And then now I can put that into here. So I'm going to do that so I have to figure out how I'm going to make this example. This is now how I think I'm going to make this example. Let's run this. Looks good. So you can see I have turned the video into just brightness values, which is something that I wanted to do. You guys can still hear me, yes? Anybody in the chat? There's 11 people watching here. And there's a few people watching here. Okay. Okay, so now I have that example. So the next piece of the puzzle is that what I would like to do, and the camera just went off. Turn this back on. Is I because this is kind of slow, well, not just because this is kind of slow, I want to create a lower resolution version. So what I'm going to do next is, and I don't need this anymore, I need a variable called like video scale, and I'm going to make that variable 4, and I'm going to say width divided by video scale and height divided by video scale. So now this is going to break everything, but I want my video to be like small and low resolution. And what I want then when I look through its pixels to only look through the lower resolution video pixels. And instead of drawing pixels to the window, I want to say fill, bright. Then I want to draw a rectangle that is at x times video scale, y times video scale, and video scale, video scale. But I should make a smaller variable name so that, and I don't need update pixels anymore, and I also don't need load pixels. This is what I want to do, and this should give me, now what did I get wrong? Pixel density, some other math. This has to be video.width. That's important. Video scale 4. Oh, wow, really? That's, how about 16? Right, so there we go. This is what I'm looking to do. So now I have something that's quite fast, doing a low resolution whatever, mabob. I think now maybe my window could be bigger. And we can see this here. So now, okay, so the other thing is, while this looks right to you, it's actually not mirrored if I'm looking at my screen, although I guess I'll leave it this way because you can see how it maps. Okay, so that's that piece. And so, but actually this is not the final version of the example that I want to do. I actually want to, instead of using the brightness as a fill, I want to make the fill 255. And what I want to do is take that brightness value, which has a range between 0 and 255, and map that to a rectangle size. So small rectangle, and this should say no stroke too. Small rectangle if it's dark. Bigger rectangle if it is bigger rectangle if, I wonder if V scale, is that a better variable name? Let's try that. Whoa, let me, V scale, video scale, V scale, replace all. Okay, that's a little bit better. This would actually be this size. So now let me run this. There, this is what I'm looking to do. So if I zoom in on this, you can see that the size of the rectangles is related to the brightness of the pixel. I could also say rect mode center. And there we go. This is really, and it's a little bit off, and so I probably should, offset each of these by like V scale divided by 2. I'm kind of getting into, it's a slippery slope. Overly complicated code, unnecessarily so. But this is, okay, so this is the final version. So you can see I have created, unfortunately the green behind me isn't the best for this. But I'm wearing kind of a bright shirt. I can do this. I don't know what, but you get the idea. Okay, is anybody still actually watching this? Because I'm going to make the tutorial in a second. Let me scooch this over and zoom it down a little bit and check to see. You guys can hear me and see me okay? Somebody in the chat, please say, hello, I'm watching this, it's working okay. Is that a Bonobos shirt? I have no idea what Bonobos is, but I guess somebody is watching because they're asking about my shirt. Okay, so in a moment, okay, great. You're enjoying this. Thank you, Adam Father. Okay, so I am going to start now. The presence of a camera shouldn't distract me since there are lots of cameras here, but it does somehow. I'm going to now begin, go back. So I figured this out, and I'm going to start over just from this. I hate to delete all this code. Let me save this code somewhere just in case. Some secret place. I'm going to save that working version of it. But now I'm going to go here, and I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to go here, here. Sorry, everybody, I'm almost there. For brightness mirror, I just want to title this properly. Let me make this a little bit smaller. How's that font size, okay? Close that, open this. This is the only one that matters. And there we go. No, down. Okay, I'm ready. Working good. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to have a little drink of water. Make some weird noises while slurping that. I'm going to walk over here. I'm going to definitely need the whiteboard for this, so I'm just getting myself ready. And now I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to cycle the cameras, and I'm going to try to do this in, trying to make this like about a 10-minute, possibly 15-minute tutorial, where I will rebuild that thing I just built again, but going through some of the details a bit more. Okay, here we go. Just checking the chat for a second. Oh, something internet happened, but I just have to assume it's still going. Hold on. Just want to make sure it's still going. Sound good, sound and video, no problem. Okay. I'm going to move myself over a tiny bit. That tends to work better, blocking less. I can close this. I don't need this. All I need is browser, Sublime. Browser, Sublime. Browser, Sublime. Browser. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to record now. Hello, and welcome to another video about pixels. In this video, I'm going to change this rainbow set of pixels behind me to the pixels from a live video stream. And from that, I'm going to show you how to create an abstract mirror from that video stream based on just the brightness values of the pixels. So let's just dive right in and go ahead and do this. So I'm going to pull up the code for this one. And the first thing I want to do is just add a video DOM element here. So I'm going to create a variable called video. I'm going to say video equals create capture video, and I'm going to say video.size 320 240. So I'm going to just run this again, and we can see, there we go. I now have my canvas with random pixels next to the video DOM element. So the next thing I want to do is say, instead of making these pixels random, I want to actually just pull the pixels from the video itself. So if I go into the code here, you can see this particular nested loop is looking at every single x and every single y, finding the pixel, and setting its color. And I covered all how this works in a previous video. Link to that now magically. But if I make a weird sound, then I hope that an annotation will pop up that will link there. But if I want to look at the video's pixels, the first thing I have to do is just say video.load pixels. Video.load pixels. Now, in addition to the canvas pixels, I want to look at the video pixels. Okay? And here I can actually just say, hey, the red pixel for the canvas, I want it to be the red pixel from the video. And the green pixel, I want it to be the green pixel. And the blue pixel, I want it to be the blue pixel. And the alpha, I could get the alpha, but I know it's 255. Why bother looking it up? Let's just put the number 255 in there. So now, if I were to run this, we're going to see, look at that, video in there and the canvas. But notice we've got some stuttering now. So it's a pretty expensive thing. If you've worked in Java or C++ before, you'd be like, what? I can look at a 320 by 240 image and look at all the pixels, no problem. The truth of the matter is, this is a little bit slow in the browser. So even though it's working, we've got some performance issues here. So I'm going to deal with those performance issues in a way by saying like, well, I wanted to make something artistic anyway, so I'm going to do this at lower resolution. But that's going to sort of be the main thing that I'm going to do. But before I get to that, one thing I want to show you how to do is just look at the grayscale or brightness value of each pixel. Now there is a function in P5 called the brightness function, which takes a color and gives you its brightness value. I'm going to do it sort of in a manual, simpler way, which I think is just going to be a bit more efficient here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those values. I'm going to say R. This is the red value from the video. This is the green value from the video. And this is the, and this is the blue value from the video, and 1, 0, 1, and 2. So really what I could do is say R, I'm just breaking this out into different lines of code. And by the way, this is like, hello, image processing 101. I've got an image, I look at its red, green, and blue value, I do something to that red, green, and blue value, and set a new pixel. So this is really image processing here. The thing that I'm doing to that red, green, and blue value is nothing. But if I wanted to manipulate them or swap them, so I could go off on another tangent here, but I'm not going to go off on that other tangent. What I want to do is actually just look at the brightness value. And the brightness value for a given pixel is really just the average. And it can be more complex than this if you're like a black and white photographer who cares about the nuance of how you grayscale something. But a simplistic thing I could do is just add all the RGB together and divide by 3 and say, let me set each pixel to a brightness value. So there we go. And now if I refresh this, you're going to see I've got the image on the right live from the video and a kind of grayscale version. I've taken out the colors because I'm making the red, green, and blue values all equal to the average of their sum. Okay, so this is pretty good, but we've got this issue here where I've got a performance problem. And I want to do this abstract mirror thing anyway, so there's a solution to this. So I'm going to come over here and talk about what that solution is. Let's say my window itself is 800 by 600. It's not, but let's say I had the canvas itself is 800 by 600. What if I were to capture my P5 video at 80 by 60? So you can see here, and not drawn perfectly to scale, this is 1/10 the size of this one. Well, it's actually not 1/10 because it's two-dimensional, but the width is 1/10, the height is 1/10. So really it's 1/100th the size. I think that's right. Oh boy, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. The point of this is there is a relationship between these two. If I take any x value here, its corresponding place there is x times 10. If I take any x value here, its corresponding place here is x divided by 10. So I need a new variable like scale, which is going to keep track of that relationship between my source material and the place where I'm drawing. Just not into light. I looked at the light and I'm kind of half blinded. Everything's going to be okay. But this would be a terrible, terrible, terrible name for a variable. Terrible name for a variable, because scale is actually a built-in P5 function. So you really want to watch out, not name your variables things that already exist in P5. It can cause all sorts of problems. And there's all sorts of interesting ways around that, a topic for another time. So I'm going to call this a V scale for video scale. So I'm going to come back over here, and I'm going to go back to my code, back to my code, and I'm going to add a variable called V scale, and I'm going to make it the value 16, because I think that will kind of do the math, work the math out nicely. I'm actually going to make my canvas 640 by 480, and then I want my video size to be the width of the canvas divided by V-scale, and the height of the canvas divided by V-scale. So I want the video to be smaller, the canvas to be bigger, the video to be 1/16 of the canvas, the width and height, that is. Okay, so once I've done that, now, for a second here, let's just comment this out. Actually, let's just leave it in there. It's going to do weird things. And run this. You can see that the video is here, small, very low resolution. And who knows what's going on in here? All that broke because my math is now way off. Well, actually, what I want to do is not even bother to set pixels anymore. I do want to look up pixels in the video, but instead, what I want to do is for each pixel now draw a big rectangle that's 16 by 16. So here we go. Instead of, I want to fill that rectangle based on that brightness and draw a rectangle at x, at y, that is v-scale, v-scale. And let's run this, and you can see, oops, and let's get rid of this update pixels. We don't need that anymore. Come on. I think I might have frozen. What did I do here? Oh, okay. Well, there's some mistakes here. I just realized. Terrible mistakes. I was trying to, are you paying attention? What have I missed? So first of all, now that I'm looking at the video's pixels, right? The video thing, this is the small thing. I want to iterate over its pixels and do things bigger in the canvas. So I've got to go back, and I was being very loosey-goosey about all this. I've got to look at the video height and the video width. And in my formula, in looking at the pixels, I need the video width as well. So now, and I think I might have crashed the browser. So let's close. Look at this. Look at me crashing. You're not really doing P5 unless you crash a browser every once in a while. Doing P5, I don't know what that means. You're not really programming P5. This was going well a second ago. There we go. So you can see something happen, but whatever happened doesn't make any sense. Why? I forgot a really, really crucial detail. Looking at my code, the x and y values are the x and y positions in that low resolution video, but I want to see them in their spots in the actual canvas itself. So what I need to do is multiply, scale back up by v-scale. V-scale. And now, magic of magic, we should see, we should see that I have exactly what I expected. Now you can see the performance is quite good. I don't know what the size of that is, 32, 24, something like that. It's pretty low resolution. Plenty of resolution to get some sense of the image, and you can see I now have this pixelated version of myself, and I could go back to the RGB values. I could do, I could start to do all sorts of weird things. So this, I think, is the moment where I could stop and say, hey, now you be creative. Why don't you draw circles instead, or strange hexagonal shapes, or other images to make this other kind of mosaic. But text, you could put text in there, whatever you want to create this sort of mirroring effect that's abstract. But I think something that I'll show you that I think is worth looking at is what's the sort of bare minimum, and the reason why I chose brightness is brightness of each pixel is kind of the bare minimum value to convey the information of the image. So what I want to do is just draw each pixel as a rectangle with its size relative to brightness. And I can use the map function. So let me create a variable called w for like width of that rectangle. And I want to map the brightness of each pixel, which goes between 0 and 255, to a size of that rectangle. Dark pixels should be small rectangles. Bright pixels should be large rectangles. So between 0 and v-scale itself. And then I want each pixel to be white, and I want its size to be that w. So you can see what I'm doing now is I'm saying, look at every pixel in the low resolution image, get its brightness, map that brightness to some size, and draw a rectangle in the higher resolution canvas according to that particular brightness. And here we go. So let me hit refresh, and you can see this is what I've got now. So you can kind of see, am I in there? Can I create a pose that you can recognize? But if I zoom in here, right, zoom in really close, you can see that what's happening is these are just little rectangles that are getting bigger with brighter pixels and smaller with darker pixels. Very, very simple idea, a little bit of information. You'll notice that the rectangles are kind of growing from the corner. So really I should probably use, if I was thinking about symmetry and design and all that sort of stuff that maybe somebody else knows about, I should probably use rect mode center. And then if I refresh the page, you should see that now the rectangles are growing from their center if I zoom in and kind of move around to create some various effects. And they're it's a little bit off now. You can see at the bottom the math is off. So I could probably shift everything to the right and down by v-scale divided by 2 and let you add that part if you want to play around with this. But I would say this is the basics of an idea of how you might look at the pixels of a video and redraw them in a different way while remaining on that grid. So one of the next things I'm going to show you is how to just forget about this idea of the grid entirely and create a painting system that paints the pixels of a video, and that's what I'll look at next. I should mention one other thing though. Even though this looks correct to you, right? I stand here, I move my arm to the right, My arm moves to the right behind me, a little bit of a lag, but it moves to the right nonetheless. It's not actually mirrored. If I were in some kind of art installation and I'm looking at it, as I move my arm to the right, what I'm seeing on the screen is it moving to the left. So I'm actually just going to reverse that, even though it'll look reversed here. But I think this is useful for you in case you don't know how to do this. Well, because a way to reverse it, by the way, is if I'm looking up, if I'm going to draw the rectangle here, I could just look up the pixel over here. And then the rectangle here, I look up the pixel over here. So for every pixel on the left, look up every pixel on the right. And the way to do that is just to say width minus the x value minus 1. Right? Because if I have an image, you're over there, if I have an image that's 320 pixels wide, 0 should map to 319, 1 should map to 318, 2 should map to 317, et cetera, et cetera. So I can just, without having to actually manipulate or flip the image, I'm looking up every pixel. I could just look at the other side. A quick way of doing that is to say video.width plus x, minus x plus 1 plus y, and I think parentheses wise, just to be more clear, I might put parentheses here, but I think it should be fine anyway. So now if I hit refresh, we can see here it's reversed. So it looks reversed to you, like I'm going to give myself a high five. High five. High five. I'll do that on my own time later. But it's actually now looks mirrored properly when I look at the screen here. OK, so this concludes this tutorial of making a brightness mirror with P5GS, create capture, rectangle, rect mode center, and a whole bunch of other things. And I'm going to go over here and hit stop and see you soon. OK, live chat. Yeah, so Arthur Frisk asks, it seems like they should add a global P5 object and add all the functions and properties to that instead. In fact, you can work with it that way, and there's a way to do instance mode where everything's attached to a global P5 object. But for the sort of starting beginner, it's kind of nice to, I agree, it's not like extra typing, but it's just sort of like, for me, it's sort of just like a friendly simplicity to not having this like extra dot thing and this global thing to worry about at the beginning. So it's a good question, though. I'm not sure about that. OK, everybody said hi and goodbye. Or let me check Twitch. So I'm going to take a break now. So let me see where I am here. I need to paint a portrait, slit scan. I said I was going to do seriously.js, which maybe I'll try. So I'm gonna actually shut off the stream, but I'll probably be back in like a half an hour or so if I can, because I want to see if I can get one more video in today. Otherwise, I'll be doing more of these tomorrow or next Tuesday. The only day for sure I know I'm not going to be recording is Monday. So I'm hoping to get over here tomorrow afternoon, but just stay attached. Don't attach. I'll post on Twitter. But I'm hoping to be back again today a little bit longer. I'm just going to take a short break here for a second. All right, I'm going to hit stop on the stream, though, not to just leave it on.